Welcome to week 4 of Comjure 333. This is a weekly overview of what's coming up this week. As mentioned in the announcement, we'll be focusing our readings on audio journalism. There's a very good chapter in the text on chapter 13, which addresses both audio and video journalism. Pay attention to the readings on scripts, because unlike print journalism, audio journalism and video journalism also has a script, which we'll get into in more detail. But scripts, in essence, show audio cues, in cues and out cues for the technical director in a radio booth. And we'll see that when we get into television as well. So our audio stories for both audio and video, scripts will accompany them. So please look at the readings on scripts, and we'll get into that in greater detail when we talk about video journalism. So this week, the textbook has some excellent readings on broadcast journalism as a whole. There are some lectures in this week's module, and also lots of supplementary material. Please pay attention to some of the articles on delivery, and we'll talk a bit more about that in just a second. Also, we have our second quiz this week. And then finally, our audio news story assignment, which is due on, both of those are due on Sunday. So let's talk a little bit about audio journalism. As I mentioned last week, how it's different than print. It's theater of the mind. So we want to think about the type of language choices that we use, both in terms of the language that we write and then how we use our voice to bring the audience along. So delivery. Think about not only your word choices, but how those word choices are expressed. And we go back even to basic public speaking, and we think about how we can use our voice. Vocal variety, volume, rate, pitch, tonality, pronunciation, and accessibility. So think about that, about how your voice affects the listener's perception of the story. Also think about the use of sound effects. How do we bring the listener into the space that we're trying to talk about? If we're doing a story on an old one-room schoolhouse, in Peshastin, Dryden, and we're trying to describe it, how do we bring our listeners into that space? How do we describe the space, what it feels like, what it smells like, what it sounds like? Think about language of the senses as they help to bring listeners along for the ride. So a little bit about audio journalism. Again, this week our audio story is due on Sunday. And next week we'll be turning towards broadcast journalism. See you then.